Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening to Wake Up, Look Up, a podcast where we connect events happening in real time to the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm Zach Wyrock. And in today's episode, we're talking about endless parenting. And we're asking the question, should you cut them off? This is prompted by an article in The Atlantic recently, taking a look at what is a rising cultural phenomena of kids staying more connected to their parents than ever, particularly as they age into young adulthood. You've probably seen this phenomena, even if you haven't read this article. But let me throw some data at you. Statistics say that people in the age bracket, 18 to 34, are calling home, for example, more than the generation before them. In fact, it's up to 70% of people in that age bracket say they call home multiple times a week for relational connectivity, for looking for advice. Over 60% receive some form of financial help from their parents, despite aging into young adulthood, with a lot of them, even as so much as doubling over recent years, receiving half their financial support from their parents, meaning half their bills are being paid by their parents. Multi-generational housing is on the rise. More kids are living at home, more parents moving in with their kids. So we're asking the question from a biblical perspective, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Is this a sign of families being tighter than ever or a sign of children refusing to grow up? Well, the answer, of course, is not nearly that simple or black and white. The truth is that the Bible does affirm two things. The first is the overwhelming value of family. In our culture, we have tended to place an emphasis on the individual, that life is about you, your dreams, what you make of it, what you do. And the consequence of that can be to downplay the importance of relational connectivity. When kids are calling home to call mom and dad and to get advice, or just to know that they're still loved, or to seek just relational connections, that's a sign of a healthy relationship. Generations before would have lamented the fact that they weren't able to do that. What a great thing to be able to pick up the phone, or to find yourself in a difficult spot financially and to know you have the safety net of a family that cares for you and will do whatever they're able. When you have an opportunity to be kind to your children, whether a kind word, a meal, or a check, it is never wrong to do that. Kindness and love within the context of family is a tool that God uses to grow us. I know the pushback to that could be, well, you want them to be self-sufficient, and I'll get to that in just a second. But can we at least acknowledge that none of us are fully self-sufficient? I mean, right now, I have no idea where my children are. That's because they're with my wife. I'm not self-sufficient. I rely on her, and her on me, and us on our friends, and so on and so forth. Children adding to the portfolio of people they can rely on, their mom and dad, sounds to me like a wonderful, biblical, rich reality. But of course, at the same time, we have to raise children who are stepping into adulthood and who are able to be independent. A gift of kindness is one thing. A gift of subsidizing is another. Sometimes, and this is a hard thing to do as a parent, I know, even just as a parent of teenagers, sometimes people need to struggle as a tool of learning. Sometimes you have to make a mistake in order to learn that it was a mistake. As parents, we have to be careful that we aren't always jumping in and taking away the opportunity for our children to grow as they're young adults, to make mistakes and to learn from them the same way that we did. You have to ask yourself, is your ongoing support of your children, financially, emotionally, in whatever form, an act of kindness and love, or an act of desperation? Is they're receiving that gift an act of being blessed or an act of being carried? The former is a wonderful thing, a biblical thing, a good thing. The latter is a thing that will ultimately be devastating to them. Of course, as parents, we know we want to help out in the short term in a way that is good for the long term. I know in my life that when Amy and I were looking at buying our first home, my father-in-law offered to help us a little bit to move us from this level of house to that level of house. And I pushed back pretty hard. I wanted to be independent. I wanted to pay my own way. And he said something that I'll never forget, and I'll probably take with me into my own grandfatherliness when I get there, is he said, Zach, I'm going to give you this money one way or the other. Why not give me the opportunity to enjoy you enjoying it? He made me understand that he wasn't doing it because I needed it, and he wasn't doing it as a crutch. It was his money that he had worked hard for, and he wanted it to be a blessing to me, really, to his daughter. There's nothing wrong with that. That is a wonderful thing to celebrate. So let's be a blessing to our kids, whether it's in our giving or whether it's in our letting them squirm a little bit as they learn. Either way, always looking for their good and for God's glory. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Wake Up, Look Up. While you're here, make sure you click like and subscribe so you get future content from Wake Up, Look Up. And hey, leave a comment below letting us know what you thought or interacting in some way with what you just watched. I'd love a chance to talk with you more in the comment section. And also, while you're here, check out all the other content CCC puts out, including the videos that are around me right now.